your go-to channel for the fastest updates in Formula One has 3 hot stories for you. To stay ahead of the pack, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Let's get started. Today's big story from the world of Formula One is about Red Bull and the team's growing concern about Max Verstappen's possible departure. The uncertainty surrounding Verstappen's future isn't exactly new. Last season, despite various rumors, Verstappen decided to stay with Red Bull a little longer in order to see how the team would change and whether they could maintain a competitive edge against their rivals. However, as the 2025 season unfolds, things are not going according to plan. The Red Bull car has failed to deliver the performance the reigning champion expected. Race after race, the team struggles to match the pace of its key competitors, and Verstappen's frustration has become increasingly evident. There are currently few signs that significant improvements will happen quickly enough to change the narrative. In fact, new reports suggest that Red Bull is placing a lot of hope on an upcoming major upgrade, scheduled for the Italian Grand Prix at Imola. Roughly 1 month from now, this update is being treated as a last-ditch effort to turn things around, not just for the team's championship hopes, but also to convince Verstappen to stay on board. Sources close to the paddock are already speculating that if this upgrade fails to deliver the necessary performance boost, Verstappen may seriously begin exploring his options outside of Red Bull for the 2026 season. The concern is that continued failure to address the car's current issues could signal deeper problems within the engineering team, problems that might not be fixable in the short term. With the next regulation change looming, another design mistake could mean 4 or 5 years of uncompetitive cars, something Verstappen is reportedly not willing to risk. Speaking to the media this week, Marco Red Bull, the team's longtime advisor and the man primarily in charge of choosing the drivers' lineup, didn't sugarcoat the situation. According to Marco, the team urgently needs to improve not only to stay in the running for the drivers' and constructors' championships, but also to avoid losing their star driver. He freely acknowledged that there is a real fear that Verstappen will walk away. Inside the Red Bull garage, Marco emphasized that if Red Bull wants to keep Verstappen happy, they must give him a stable, competitive car that can fight at the front on a regular basis rather than relying solely on sporadic flashes of brilliance or lucky events. He noted that Verstappen's recent victories, such as the one in Brazil last season or Japan this year, came down to flawless execution and individual talent rather than the car's inherent strength. The next few races will be crucial, not only for Red Bull's position in the championship, but also for Verstappen's decision-making process regarding his future. However, what do you think? Will Red Bull be able to fix the issues with their current car and convince Max Verstappen to stay? Or is it already too late, or are we about to witness one of the biggest shakeups in recent F1 history? Marco said, "We need to offer him a reliable car that delivers performance in every situation, not just when everything lines up perfectly by chance." Please share your opinions in the comments section. What are your thoughts on Lewis Hamilton's initial Ferrari races? Was his performance up to par with your expectations, or did you wish for more? Although Charles Leclerc has steadily demonstrated a stronger pace, Hamilton's results in the scooter area thus far have been far from impressive, drawing criticism and raising doubts about whether this high-profile move will truly pay off. Hamilton also appears visibly uneasy behind the wheel of his new car. His struggle to gain confidence in the Ferrari setup has been evident, and the distance between him and his teammate has only increased the scrutiny this week. Ralf Schumacher, a former Formula One driver and current Sky Sports commentator, was candid in his assessment of Hamilton's current predicament. He said that Hamilton doesn't seem to be able to control the Ferrari at this point, and that the British driver is obviously having trouble with the car's behavior. As a result, he seems to be stuck and unsure of how to proceed or adjust his driving to the demands of the machine beneath him. Schumacher continued by drawing comparisons between Hamilton's current situation and his own experiences as a professional driver. He cautioned that if things don't get better quickly, Hamilton may lose all motivation because it's very hard to find the will to keep going once racing ceases to be enjoyable. According to Schumacher, this lack of progress could eventually cause Hamilton to wake up and decide to leave Ferrari or even Formula One altogether. This isn't the first time that Hamilton has been the subject of such rumors. As his time with Mercedes came to an end, there were already rumors that the British driver was getting weary of battling an uncompetitive car, but he decided to switch teams rather than retire at that point. Schumacher says that if things at Ferrari don't get better, a similar situation might occur again. Schumacher emphasized that Hamilton's faith will be somewhat restored if the team is able to give him with a car by the midseason, which is the summer break. Schumacher believes the possibility of Hamilton asking to leave Ferrari at the end of the year becomes very real, however. He also mentioned a more optimistic scenario that Hamilton might find just enough improvement to stay with Ferrari through 2026, at least long enough to test the team's new car. Under the upcoming regulation changes, at the heart of Schumacher's analysis is the belief that Charles Leclerc will remain Ferrari's leading force in his view. Leclerc is simply better adapted to the team and the car right now, while Hamilton remains in a phase of frustration and doubt. The question is whether Hamilton can close that gap, both technically and mentally, before it's too late. This entire situation has left many fans and analysts wondering, are we witnessing the beginning of the end for Hamilton's legendary career, or will the British star find a way to turn things around, proving once again why he is one of the greatest drivers in the history of the sport? Now I'd like to hear your opinion. Do you believe it's too early to talk about retirement, or do you agree with Ralf Schumacher that the lack of results and mounting frustration could push Hamilton to call it quit sooner than expected? Share your thoughts below. This story is far from over, and the next few races may hold the key to Hamilton's future in Formula One. Let's speak about this season's rookies in Formula One. What are your initial impressions of them? Which newcomer most struck you? Who do you think has the best long-term potential for 2025? Several new names were welcomed to the grid, including Jack Doohan at Alpine, Kimi Antonelli at Mercedes, Oliver Behrman at Haas, Isaac Hadjar at Racing Bulls, and Gabriel Bordelito at Sauber among these fresh talents. One name that has sparked debate early on is Jack Doohan. The young Australian driver has faced a challenging start to his rookie campaign, making a few costly mistakes and being involved in incidents that have complicated his position within the team, with Alpine currently struggling to find consistency. Part of the internal leadership reportedly favors replacing Doohan with reserve driver Franco Colapinto, originally from Williams' development program, caught the attention of Alpine's management last season when he stepped in during testing sessions and showcased impressive performance and adaptability. His work left such a strong impression that Alpine senior figure Flavio Briatore has openly stated that he sees Colapinto as one of the standout talents for the future. Rumors circulating in the paddock suggest that Doohan might have been given only 5 races to prove that he deserves to hold on to his seat for the remainder of the season. If his performance doesn't meet expectations, Calypso could be called up to take over the car, immediately using the rest of the season to gain valuable experience ahead of 2026. But what's the reality behind these speculations? According to recent reports from the race, the Alpine leadership is indeed split on the decision, while some key figures are pushing for an early change. The team's engineering department has expressed strong support for Doohan. They argue that despite the setbacks on track, Doohan has been doing an excellent job behind the scenes. His commitment to following the team's detailed race programs and contributing to the car's development has been described as highly professional and consistent. The engineers also point out that Doohan is still in the adaptation phase, adjusting to the demanding environment of Formula One. They believe that his current results are in line with what should be expected from a rookie dealing with the complexity of a midfield car, and that cutting his time short would be premature. For them, patience is key to unlocking Doohan's full potential. Given these internal disagreements, the latest information suggests that Alpine will not rush the decision. Instead, the team plans to make a final call during the summer break halfway through the season. At that point, they will carefully review Doohan's data, assess his development, and decide whether he will remain in the seat until the end of the year, potentially positioning him as part of the long-term strategy for 2026, or if the team will move forward with Calapinto taking over the seat for the remainder of the season to prepare for the next chapter. This scenario leaves the door open for intense debate within Alpine and among F1 fans. Doohan has supporters who recognize his hard work and potential, but there's no denying the growing pressure from those eager to see Calypso step up. So, what's your take on this situation? Do you believe Jack Doohan deserves more time to prove himself, or do you think Alpine should make the switch to Franco Calapinto sooner rather than later? Share your opinion below. We'll be keeping a close eye on this story as the season unfolds.